Hi, this is Dave Chenault with Skylight Systems, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the Leads module in SideKick 365 xRM Ultimate. I'm also going to show you how you can import data in using copy and paste from Excel. And I'm also going to talk about how to promote a lead into an account. So let's get started. First off, the Leads module is really a working area in the app that we've developed for you. It's a big list. It can hold a lot of information, but there's not a lot of things attached to it. So the idea is this might be something that you purchased from a third party, or it might be sort of a hodgepodge of information that you've collected over the years that you want to store in the system. And they're not really active in the sense that you're not tracking deals and you're not attaching a lot of documents and context to these. They're more of a reference for you that one day might turn into a hot opportunity or account that you're working with. And the way to think about it is, if this was to become a hot prospect or something you're working with, you can simply select that. And if you'll notice on the drop down, we have added the option here to promote. And what that'll let you do is it'll let you promote this lead into an account. And then you can start to track a lot of information about that, because now it's a very active, hot part of your pipeline. So this again is a large collection of information. It's somewhat rough in that we don't have a lot of formatting. If I open up this detail here behind this particular lead, you can see that we've used just the default SharePoint list detail view, and that's by design. It makes it easy for you to customize this if you want to add some information. And you can just go ahead and add in notes, etc., right? So let's go ahead and take a look at how we might get data into this lead list, and then we're going to look at how we might customize it as well. So what you'll see over here is I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got this spreadsheet set up where I have the name of the lead and who owns it, address, etc. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy, let's say 20 of these. So I'll scroll over to the last column in this particular group, and I can see that right here. And then I'm just going to scroll down and pick about, let's just say 30 or 40 of them. So I'll scroll down to row 60 and copy that. Okay, now let's go back over into leads. Now you'll notice in the leads there are different views, and I've made a view called Import Grid. All I did is I created a new view in the list, and the way to do that is here you have these three dots. You'll notice up in the previous screen and on any of these screens you'll have this opportunity to modify the view or create a view, and I just created a view that was a type of grid. Let's do that real quick. So when I say create, I have standard, calendar, access, but here's this data sheet view, and we also call those grid views. I made a data sheet view or a grid view that lets me then paste information right into it from Excel. Let's go on back and take a look at that. So there's also a little trick here that you have to know, and that is that whenever you copy and paste, if I was just to select with my cursor and try and paste, it actually won't work. It's sort of an unknown feature, I'll call it that, in SharePoint. What you need to do is I would go to the row above, and then I use my down arrow. I don't use my cursor. And when I do that, if I just do Control V, if you remember I copied those cells, and it says, hey, I've got a lot of information on the clipboard. Do I want to let the browser access that? And I'm going to say yes. And what you'll see is that it'll take that information from Excel and it'll paste it right into this data grid view. It takes a minute to do that. And then you'll see it commit the data one row at a time into the lead list. So we'll let it go ahead and load here. And sometimes it's faster or slower. It depends what's going on your PC. In my case, I'm doing a lot of recording. But what you will notice is you see how each line was being highlighted there. And what's going on is that SharePoint is going through and committing all of this data in. You can see the little circle on the left, the line highlights, and now it's saving that data into the list. So we'll let it finish. It'll take a minute or so. And while it's doing that, it's also very easy to customize this list. So let's say you had additional information that you had purchased from a company and you wanted to track that in your lead module. You can just go in and add that field in. There's a lot of ways to do that. I'll show that later in the video. And then you can do the same thing I did. The trick here is make sure that your list view has the fields in the same order as your Excel spreadsheet. So very simple. We've had a lot of customers using this technique to store and save a lot of list data from leads right in Excel, copy and paste, just like I did here. So now if I want to see this information, it should be all done. Let's go ahead and take a look in the leads module. If I select leads now, I'll see that I have committed all that information in, and I can do that. I remember the first one was called farmers. So I'll just sort it by the title, and if I look, there's my farmers right there. All the information now is in SideKick. And if I wanted to, I can go ahead and add in notes as I talk to these people, etc. I could say a new note, and now I can start tracking it in SideKick. Very simple to do. And now if this becomes something I want to actively track, it's very simple to do that. All I will do is just go into my farmers, select the drop down, say promote, and that would then move this into my accounts module where I can start attaching documents, opportunities, additional contacts, emails, etc. You get the idea. So we really like this new capability of leads because a lot of customers have been asking for a simple list to track sort of targets, right? But they're not active at this point. They're just maybe either different people you've worked with in the past, or they might be companies that you're targeting to start working with. Okay, and of course you can sort, filter these any way you want. You could go now in and modify this view. But let's go ahead and look and see how would I add a new field. Let's say I bought a list, and in this list of things that I purchased from a third party, there was a new field. And all you do, it's very simple, is in my grid view, I can add a column. And I do that, I select that little plus sign, and what you'll see is I can add a text, a number, a date, time, etc. When I select one of those, it'll let me define what I want to call that, and then it'll just put it in that position on the view. If I want to change the position, all I would do is go to Modify View again. So let's do that. And I can change the order on that new field I added just by selecting the drop down here. So very, very flexible. The only thing to really consider on this is that when you go to promote it, just because you added that field doesn't mean it's going to get added into the account, right? Because the promote has logic behind it that grabs certain fields in the lead list and maps them into the account list. If you need help mapping new data that you've purchased that's not currently in the leads module, for example, in this one, I have the email address that's not in the leads module out of the box, and I want to promote that into the account when I move it over, then just go ahead and send us an email. And what we'll do is we'll work with you to modify the promote logic so that it'll automatically pick up that new data set. In this case, it might be a email address, and push it over into the account. Okay? So just to recap, leads are a working module for you to store lots and lots of data. There's no security on them. Everyone can see all the leads. They're very simple. It's just a list in SharePoint that you can easily modify by adding columns. You can also promote a lead to an account, meaning now I want to go ahead and really start tracking this. And we think that this is a really nice enhancement for the product. A lot of customers have been asking for it, and it's very simple to just copy and paste information from Excel right into your leads module if you use a grid view. The only trick on that, if you remember, was that rather than just selecting the last cell that was open, you want to go to the one above it and then use your down arrow to get the cursor positioned into that empty cell. Right? So let me just show that one more time on this video to make sure we're on the same page. So if you notice here, there's this Y technology, and now I use my down arrow in the keyboard rather than my cursor with a mouse. And now I'm ready to paste again. I can go into Excel and paste as I need. So I've given you a lot of information on the leads module and how to get data into it. If you have any questions at all, contact us at info@skylightsystems.com, and that's SKYLITESYSTEMS.com. This is Dave Chenault. Thanks for your patience and also for your attention.